So I had a quick call and interlude to some other task, and now we're back to continue building the UI out. So, a couple of um, interesting points. Um, when you're building an application for um, a web application, and typically you're trying to receive or have another application ping you for some data, or it's trying to send you something. One thing you do need to be careful of is something called cross-site request forgery. So most websites and most systems now have protection so that you can't just ping any website you want and say, hey, here's some data, send me back something, right? So what cross-site request forgery allows you to do is say that, hey, I'll only accept requests that are coming from my own site, right? So if you're on one page and you want to send something to another page, like which is what happens when you log in or you submit, you upload your photo, you upload your data, something, you're all doing it within the same site, right? And even then, there is protection across the different pages. Um, so that you can't just open up any form anywhere and then submit information. Now, when you turn it on, what that means is that an Android application also needs to get verified first before it can send any information to your website. So you need to first request a token, and a token would just basically contain, a key saying that, hey, for the you know, um, next 24 hours, you can submit data and you're good. And so what you do is you set up a mechanism where you first log in, you check whether the password is correct, and then you say, okay, good. Here's your key. Now you can use it to do stuff. It's almost like going inside like a club or into a Disney World. You pay for your ticket, but at the entrance you get a wristband, and that wristband allows you to access any sort of system inside Disneyland, right? So you don't have a boarding ticket anymore. You have a wristband which tells anyone that you meet inside that, hey, you're fine, right? So, and you need to show your wristband, and then you can go in. So that's what this is, and what I've just done again for building this proof of concept kind of system is turned it off, which is not something you want to do in a production system at all, at all. Heed my words, at all. Do as I say, not as I do, right? That kind of thing. But um, let me now just get all these views into space. Let me just see how we had restructured some of the other pages. Yeah, okay, so we got assets over there in the root folder, and then we've got docs examples. Examples are all in views, I assume. So I got applications, views, and yeah, I guess that's the examples over there. Okay. Okay, so let me open this guy up. Alright, so this is the folder that I just zipped out. And what I'm going to do is copy the entire assets into this and just drop it over here. And I'm going to let Sublime do it. Not ideal, but I don't mind. Just do it. Just send it up. And while that's happening, I go back and I'm going to click on examples. I think that's all I need, right? Oh, template.html. Let's see if this does anything. Yeah, okay. So this has got like the full page and stuff. Okay. Just a raw template. Oh, this could be quite useful. I might just want to see if I can put that to use. So I got the template here and I got doc examples. I'm going to copy this and then go over here. I'm going to drop it inside the views so that it's a place where I can bring them. Okay, that did nothing for me. So I'm going to double click and then paste it. Perfect. And then I think this must still be uploading each one, yes, painfully, slowly. So while that's doing that, I do this, and then I can upload you, add it to queue as well, and template. This was the other one. So these are going off, and while we're doing that, I'm just gonna also just do a checkpoint on Git. Okay. So we're gonna wait for this to kind of upload, and yeah, I think I should have done this earlier, but it is doing it now. So I'll just be right back. I just wanna get something. Still uploading, so let that work. All right, updates are done. Excellent. All right. Now let's get that running and create a new folder called UI. New folder UI. Let's create that. And let's do this. Hello world. Test.php. No, let's do this base.php. Okay, so that's that. Now we go to UI. Sorry, I'm eating lunch. Public function main phases. This view load slash UI slash base. I think that's the syntax. I'm gonna just check that out again. So go to meals. I don't think I use that here. So I think this guy would have it best. So let's go to any of the controllers. I got views, load view something. So completely mix that up. Load view. Let's do that. And then now we can probably test that particular page. So we got that. Um, what was the phases? Hello world. Perfect. The link is beautiful. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Let me try running the other template files index. Okay. Now let's find widgets and load that entire thing into our base. Save. Cool. What is it dependent on? Depend on assets. Okay, so we got, gotta do this again, right? We got PHP base underscore URL. Mm-hmm. Yep, it should do. But we don't need index path for assets, do we? We need it for functions, but we don't need it for that one. So do that. Then I go to config, just do the base URL thing here. HTTPS quantum verify.tk hyphen. I think that should do it. Oh, I got slash going on here. I don't remember if that needed that to happen, but I know it does apparently. So refresh. Hope for the best. Hope failed. Quantana verify is the actual. Okay. No. Okay, the reason for that is why isn't that function doing anything? If it's not doing it, hard code it. I think move on with life, right? Okay, beautiful. Boom. Save, done, move on. Why isn't this loading? Mm-hmm. Cool. That's fine. Okay. Now we start peeling away some of the layers so that we can keep reusing them somewhere else. So I got the base over here. Now what I'm going to do is create a new file for the sidebar. So everything here onwards can go. Let me use this actually. Shrink, perfect. Oh, it just went down that much. That's hardly anything because that's not truly it, is it? Yeah, uh-huh. Sidebar. Boop boop. Sidebar.php. Cool. Seems to not like uploading. Wonder what happened. It's not usually this slow. Mm, cool, done. PHP include sidebar. Do we use PHP include? No, I think we use another view call. Yeah. So here. Sorry, not sorry. I'm eating. Need to eat. So sidebars over here. Perfect. That's the same thing we do over here. So we got dashboard, sidebar. Let's see where all it's called sidebar from. Mm-hmm. Bunch of things are happening. Great, great, great. All right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I just want to know where the view is, man. And that's the dashboard. Template is the one where we call it. Here you go. Include once. These are the bad boys. Could do that, or do another view. Go for it. Yeah, because we don't know what we're sending. Why not? Mhm. So, as a sidebar, let's call it Cortana Smart Track STD. Boom. Cool. Worked as expected. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Now, I don't want these guys. I want this. So I'm gonna hide off everything that I don't need. Nav, yeah. So pages is here, and then this is, I guess, pages. So close everything that is not to do with that. So ding 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 ding. It ends here, right? So we don't need anything post here. Ending all the way over here. Cool. That's that. Okay. Okay. What else can we peel away from this? This is the base, so we want to keep as much as we can on this, but we don't need all of it. So the main content, I guess nav bar is, its own different thing. So let's do that. Strip away nav bar, nav bar. Hmm. Oh, it doesn't seem to like new pages. One, two, hmm, four, five, hmm, eight, nine, 10, Done. Nah, but nav bar. I'm gonna end the nav bar here. I don't know what the volume just changed. Did I type something wrong? Maybe I did. So sidebar, sidebar. Okay, I think I'm splicing too much. Let me just focus on the content now. So the good news is we can now generate multiple pages with presumably the same kind of content. So what is the content that we want? Let's take that up and move that to another content box. Content. Mm, oh, okay, it gets stuck the first time, right? Okay, so content is now pushed out. Now, what we can actually do is, this may be something else altogether, right? So, for example, we want this bad boy here, which I really like now. So, I'm gonna get this bad boy is called timeline, timeline simple, timeline simple, C6 row, okay. So I'm gonna strip away everything except for that timeline segment, right? So this row goes onto here, don't need that at all. So save that. Timeline. Call it timeline. Timeline. Okay, getting rid of that. Perfect. Cool. So far so good. Div ul. So div ul. Perfect. So all of that is gone. Perfect, perfect. And the footer as well. Creative Tim. Content.in. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that.
Yep. Boom, boom, boom. Let's just see where this takes us, actually. Okay. Okay. Cool. Now that's taken care of. Timeline. Now let's go to timeline. We could probably get rid of this entire column. And this can just be a standard 12. Don't need much to shrink it down. Okay. I'll just give it something generic so it doesn't come back and bite us in the future at some point. So I'm just sort of just flushing out some of the smaller bits. It's a bit of a nuisance, but you know, if it's there, people will click it from experience. So just want to make sure that there is something there. Receipt. Just put this in. Doesn't do too much. Okay. Okay. Now comes the fun part. So this timeline is designed to take on something. So what are these badges? Material icons. Perfect. Okay. I need one table which has the phases and the products. So the output that UI get latest phases takes out for me. I think I need a simple table for this. Let's do a simple table. Simple table it is, yeah. You know my name before I go. But I haven't checked if anyone is watching this at all. But if they are, you can see that.
All right, so I've just shared the link with the team. So if anyone does join in, then it would be interesting to watch. So while that's happening, I want this. Checking if that is now working fine. Okay, good to know. I do want to just check this particular function because this is quite raw. Get. Oh, it's got this thing. Okay. Okay, so what we just want to do is um, just change the. Whoops, let me just turn myself off on this. What we just want to do is change the way this looks. So the raw data is there, so you can see the different products, but it's not too useful right now because we want it to be displayed in a nice table. So Bootstrap, and I've got it like almost bookmarked on this because I keep using this all the time. So I want to use the tables, and I'm a big fan of the data tables because, straight out of the box, it allows me to um, run filters, run sorting, pagination, a bunch of things are taken care of on its own. So this is the standard template, and this is what we have right now. So as you can see, we want to convert this into this. So I've already just completed the framework, or the template side. I've got something that looks like this, but that's a specific page. So what I'm gonna do is um, start by creating a new page, sending the table to the particular page layer, and then doing a simple table output first, and then attaching the data tables. But I don't want to do too much work, so I'm just going to quickly see how data tables is presently set up. So all it's looking for is it's in a card. Okay, so that's useful to know. It's in the card body, and then there's a div inside a div inside a div inside a row. So where's the actual table? That doesn't seem fair. Okay. Ah, this is the actual table. So the actual table is another column 12. Ta, this is the actual table. Okay. So if I just delete this, everything that's not here is static. Okay. So I'm just going to reintroduce that back. Now table, and then from here it's a standard table, 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 right? So we know how to use tables, right? I mean, that's basic HTML. So the only thing that I do remember is if we make this ID data tables, there's a jQuery function there that finds that particular table, and then, I'm almost imagining the scene in Iron Man 3 or in Avengers where, Tony Stark jumps out of the window and a missile which has the suit on it searches for him and scans his hands, and then it identifies, okay, that's his watch, that's his hand, and then attaches itself to it. So in a similar fashion, maybe less exciting, but it jQuery searches for any table with an ID data tables and wraps everything around it. So our job is to just generate the table, and then we let jQuery's data table plugin to set up the rest. So just to sort of get the ball rolling, and again, we don't build too much. We keep doing, a few lines changes and then uploading it and then seeing what happens, etc. Right? So we're already able to get this. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to send it to a view. I'm going to create a whole new view so that we're not kind of trapped by what we have here. So this is timeline, right? So I wanted to use the timeline function. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy all of this and just make a new one for, what should we call this? Um, this is overview table. Yeah, just call it overview table. And again, this is a static page, and for some reason Sublime freezes for about 10 seconds while we get the first page up. Yes, I see somebody is now watching this. Um, TikTok, TikTok. No, there's not much I can do apart from this. So while this is kind of doing its own thing, I usually like to just look at other things, what else can be done. So I'm gonna need a page for tables where I can send the table and, just convert this particular output into a table. And what I'm also gonna do is for a particular product ID, I have to create another page where I can search by product ID and I can get the entire history of a particular product. So I need one page where I can see all the products and all the locations, and then another page where I can see for one particular product where it is at in the different phases that we have over here. So, let me just change these up a little bit. So I got warehouse, and again, it's just a proof of concept, so I'm not, doing another table to store the different locations, um, that you would normally want to do, right? So I'm literally just going to do this. And then for a particular product ID, so I'm going to search like product ID, that was hide, copied that. And so I want this history, right? And I want it in reverse chronological order. So I'm going to go with, yep. So you can see it's actually making it descend. So that's it. So that's the query that I need to see for one particular product, like the product ID here, and I can get the query here. And again, this is all raw dummy data, so there's a bit of trust in the fact that the inputs that I receive will be fine. And at a POC level, screw validations. Um, Obviously, it's a sin that will come back calling in the future, but it'll be enough to get us started, which is really what I'm focused on right now. And obviously, through proper methodology, we would identify everything that we need to cover and then plan it and then do it. But I'm really going for output at the moment, so that's the approach we're taking. Uh, I see we have one audience member. Uh, um, I'm wondering who that is. If not, that's just me, which is, yeah, anyone watching. Let me just text in the group where I just shared this. So while that's happening, Sublime is now live with the view table, and now I'm going to go to my base, and I'm going to just change this to overview table and data table. So I'm going to send data. So data is always going to be something this is going to know. And in my UI, I'm going to send, um, it's going to send dollar $send data equal to, I'm going to save this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this out to you, and then it's going to receive that in data. So I'm going to send, I call it zipping this up, so because I'm just um, taking all the different information that I want, putting it inside an array, and sending the name of the array, or sending a copy of the array in this case. And then once this particular variable goes to base, it gets unzipped and it arrives as data, and that data goes to the overview table. And again, it's a view, so I may need to, so when it's going to land up here, it's going to be an exposed data. So in fact, what I may just do is zip it up again, where we have array of data, I guess. Is that going to do something? No, it's going to be an array of array. Uh, array of. Hmm. I'm curious to see how this would turn out. So results. Let's see results. I think that would work. I think. Otherwise, I'll have to check that out as well. So what I'm just gonna do is maybe I won't just copy everything first. I'll just do a print r of results because what I expected is that the first zipping would have end of results, right? So, and this is a view, so I don't need to really worry about echoes or non-echoes. It's a view, so what I do need to worry about is PHP here. So PHP, there you go. Now that's fine. And then I've got base, which is sending results. So results is sending it to overview. So let's see what that happens. I mean, let's just refresh it. That's the beauty of working in something like this. It just boom, refresh, doom, gun. Yeah, what did I say? Boom, refresh, and done. 18 UI. So UI didn't like something that I'd written, which was this extra bracket. And now it should work. It's thinking a lot. Ah, good. Perfect. So it did do that and it brought it over there. So progress. Excellent. And just to be safe, I'm gonna just bookmark this. I'm gonna just push it into Git. You know, table raw in view. So I'm just gonna call it raw table in view. You know, just the fact that I can get data is fine. You know, it's progress. It's progress. Okay. So now that I know that results contains the thing that I want, which is a data table, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like because of the way this works is it wants these kind of things, you know, containers and stuff. So I'm gonna go and containerize it. Wrong word. Containerize means something else altogether. Beauty of Sublime, an ID, it just gives you what is gonna be closing it off on. Okay, so now we've got this. And in fact, I can just paste this here so you can see. And what I'll do is I'll pre it. Pre is such an amazing function. You can actually, I'm going to refresh that. Take a second or two. Perfect. So you can see it's already cleaner. You know, it's not a table, but it's more than what you know, what we had some time back. So we had kind of the data that we had, but now it's inside a view, and we got like the sidebar, got something that feels like a more well-rounded application. That's a good start. So now I want the cards because I do like that card. So I'm gonna go and look at how the card syntax is. It's got a card, card header, card icon, card title, card body. And then it's got a table and then it's got a whole bunch of things. So I'm gonna see if I can just copy these segments. Maybe I'll just wipe out something first. Delete, delete. Yeah, there you go. Copy this entire code. So that's here. Perfect. So that's landed up. So you can see I didn't really, you know, try and copy everything. I was just looking at products, my products. Let's just call it my products, inventory. No, inventory is a bad name. Just call it my products. We'll get to the nomenclature later. So now this div is the actual body that we want, and I guess it would come with some sort of and always refresh and see. Don't write too much code before you see what it does, right? So you don't want to write like 10 things. Oops, sorry, wrong place. And then have to go back and figure out, oh, what particular step broke it. So now we got card, right? So it looks good, looks clean. What I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this again. You know, I'm going to push it because I've got a working card. Sure, it was only 3 lines of code and literally 3 minutes of card of data. It wasn't much, to be frank, but you know, it's enough that I can always step back and then figure out what I want to do next. All right, so now we want the actual table. I'm gonna refresh this. Did it refresh it? Yeah, it did something. So this is the card. I'm gonna refresh it just to be safe, because I don't know what I just did. And you can see that. Sorry. Hmm. I've got a call in about 20 minutes for something else, so I'm gonna have to jump out for that. What I'm just gonna do is, do I need another row of 12? No, I don't. I'm just gonna take this table ID, I'll just copy it. Too much. Do I need all of that? Yeah, okay. So you can see the structure that it's defined over here. I'm going to, oh, they even done odd and even. That's because this is a static data table. So it's data tables, but it's also not live generated. It's just to show us what's there, which is what they've done. I'm gonna go with that, remove that. Cool. Okay, so things that we're going to change now is the head is looking weird. I don't really need all of you to be here. So, yes, yes, yes. Okay, boom, boom. So what it's trying to do is it's trying to give you that same changes that you had here. I'm gonna just remove these so that I don't need all of them. So these variables or these attributes are all generated by data tables, so I don't actually need all of them. I'm gonna keep it simple and assume that the data tables plugin will kick in at the right time. Safe to say, we'll find out. Ah, interesting. Footer is something else. Do we need a footer? I'm gonna just comment this footer because it doesn't seem like something we really need. Okay, so now let me just check what my data table look like. So do I need ID? Not really. I just need user ID. Also not really required, but I'll do it anyway. So user ID, and then and by the way, I have a like a quick shortcut on my mouse that allows me to just kind of flip the images left side, right side. I'm sure you can also do a similar shortcut or just drag and drop it. So timestamp. I'm just gonna last updated. And then location is actually two things. So we're gonna not have two rows. We're gonna come back to you. We're gonna come back to you there as well. That's T-body. We don't need that too much. Row, I don't need odd. I don't need sorting. And I don't want odd because I don't want to hard code that in. And tab index also don't need it. Okay, so basically we've got this and T-body after T-body. Let's put it logically where that should be at. So we've got this going, and it's going to now try and load this table. I think I can actually see that table now. So you can see it's trying to do a table with this here. Not perfect, not by a long shot. I wonder why. I wonder why it's doing that. Because because I don't know. It is doing this. Oh, then there's a bunch of other things. So, okay, why isn't it looking like this? Because the table itself is not set to 100%. So style width equal to 100% is what is required here. So style width 100%. I think that's correct. So that didn't help, suffice to say. And I'll have to, oh, not super interactive. Somebody could have seen that and really nice. So this looks cleaner, right? Now I need to get this data into this table. But just to be safe, I'm going to commit and just keep this same. So I got tab data table static working. So I'm just gonna call this static working table, right? So I'm saving it and it's going to the server, but I like where it's at right now, and even if I break something by doing something else, I can always just loop back and quickly bring that back to life, right? So, which is the approach that I'm taking here. All right, so now I've got my main body, and I need to now see what I need to tear apart so that I can get the functionality that I want, which is this row is what needs to be replicated, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and put a for each PHP for each dollar results as dollar row. Okay, so what it's gonna do is, oops, PHP. Sorry, I completely forgot if this is even the right syntax. No, I think that bracket's on the outside. I think that's right. I'll just check again. PHP for each syntax. Okay, so yep, that looks about right. So what we're expecting is for each of this, because it's an array, it is going to load a row, and that row will give me an ID, and it'll give a user ID, etc. So I can directly put this here, PHP echo $row user ID, user ID, and that should save that over there. So let me just try and quickly get this across. Okay, before I invest too much time in it, I'm going to refresh it and just see if I can get one variable here. I did get these two variables, so perfect. It looped it and it's showing me two different ones. Over here it didn't show me these ones, but that's fine. So now I'm gonna go ahead and update the rest. So you can see methodically, I'm not sort of overreaching into um, what I've done. So I'm just focused on checking each step at a time, so that there's no need to really go back too much, right? So there's no time lost on making uh, doing too much work and then realizing, hey, actually this didn't work, so now I need to go back and I need to change it. So none of that business. It just simply just show location lat. Okay. And then there's a couple of buttons here, so we're not going to do much with the buttons right now, but we will come back to them later because we do want some actions for that particular one, and we don't need you anymore. Thank you for living your life. Oh, okay, so this has done something funny. What has it done? What has it done? What have you done? What have you done? Where are you? Line number 46. 46 is you. You are here. Ah, because there's no of that. Is that it? Yeah, it seems to be about right. Isn't life amazing when it just gives you the error number in the number? This guy was hard on me. Yeah, I just got a text from one of my teammates saying, hey, what's this about the heat in Australia? Is it bad? And the answer is yes, it's pretty bad. I mean, I have it pretty decent. I'm living in close to the city center in a pretty nice apartment. We got AC running. we're adding to that heat, I'd say, in some degree, but we're all right. But someone somewhere off is probably struggling through forest fires and dryness, and if you're a farmer out there, then you've got um, a lot of other problems more than just heat, really. Just the impact of heat is quite painful. Okay, so looks like we've got that working. So we can see the products, in this table. Um, okay, so okay, so what we're gonna do now, so we've got the table that shows us pretty much what we want to see from all the products that we have. Just what's the latest, right? What's happening? What's the most recent thing that's on here? So if I just refresh this, I want to get a quick space here. Yeah, so that's got a space, right? So nothing great, just dump of the table. That's all we need. So now what we want is two things. Is to get a history of each particular product. So exactly what we have over here. I'm gonna just copy this query in, and so I need to probably write another model function to sort of run this query, right? So queries are run via the models. They're your best friend on this. So public public function um, get phase history. You know what? I will just paste that here. Copy this. Paste it here. I'm gonna call this phase history. Phase history. Boy, paste them back here. Because I'd hard coded this, so I'm gonna do product ID as well. So like dollar product ID, boom, boom, boom. Pretty much the same thing, really. The same query, right? So there's not much of a difference there. I can just make that smaller case so that it reads a bit better. Oh, by the way, that is a bit odd. Okay, so that's it. So for a particular product as well, I can get the phase history. So I'm gonna go and keep that as overview table. I'll leave that there. And I've got the base. So this is overview table. I've kind of hard coded this right now, but what I'll do is I'll also just change this to dollar view page. Okay, so now if I go to my UI, I need to save the view page as dollar $send view page equal to UI slash base. So what I'm doing is I'm not going to be sending not view page, UI slash overview table. So I'm going to send the link of the UI overview table to the base. The base is going to get the zip file called send. It's going to unpack that zip file, and then it's going to go open this view page link, right? So let me just confirm that little change has worked. And if nothing happens, it's great. Life is good. Okay, so now that's working fine. And what I'm going to do now is create a function that reads this particular get phase history and again outputs that where we want it. So go to my UI, don't need widgets anymore, go to my UI, and this is, I've already written a function called get live history, so I'm just going to create another function for get phase history. And here I'm going to do something similar to this.
So what is the function that I want here? I want get get phase history. Thank you. Product ID. Thank you. And instead of overview table, actually, can I use overview table? So I got user ID, product ID. I think I can actually. So let's see. So I've got user ID. Finish 1, 2, 3. Oh, I got product ID. I need to send product ID. So get phase history. Stuff is happening, and yeah, that worked. So I didn't have to do much. Get phase history works. So what I'm gonna do is, yeah. So that was a bit of a gut feel kind of thing, and if you look logically, it's the same set of data. They're both from the same table. They're both select star, so they're just the same. It's just a different filter that was applied here. So that's the reason why that worked. It's convenient for me. So what I just want to do as well is from here, I'm going to add a button. So here's where it would need to vary, right? So if you were calling from the overview table, I would want the button that shows the history of that. So I'm going to close this ID and put that over here. Oops, what I meant is this guy. And then here I'll put that as view phase history. Yeah, let's do that. And I'm gonna change this link to, because I know I'm already on this page, but I'll also just be sure tab verify.tk slash index.php slash ui slash get, what is this page? This page looks a bit like this, right? So I'm going to paste this here. HTTPS is also there. And here is where I want PHP echo. I just want this thing. Yeah, so I'm not going to write this again. Perfect. So that should take care of that. And in fact, since I've edited the overview, it's going to show up here as well. Odd. Okay. So we don't want that. I don't want all this. So in fact, I'm going to get rid of all that. In fact, let me just get rid of this as well. I mean, fanciful links. We don't need that many fanciful links. View phase history. Okay, so that was a bit weird of a link. Why was the arrow button there? Because we never closed it? No, there's a double arrow here. Okay. So view phase history takes me to this, and if I go back, I go here, I'm going to refresh this, and view phase history for VTZ. I've never done this before, but yep, I see all of them. Perfect. So same table, uh, but with the different parameters and buttons, right? So minimizing my work, right? It's not a full thing, but it's enough to work with. So now the other one is for live history. So I'm gonna go and copy this and create another button for get live history, and it's gonna be as quick as this is. So view live history. Now live history is a bit different, so I'm gonna probably need another page. So get live history. I'm gonna go live history, and then over here UI. Don't need you anymore. Don't need you. Okay, so view live history is presently set up like this, and it would be the same except for live history. And here is, I'm gonna call this live history. I'm gonna make this a different page because I think it is slightly different. There's no user ID in this. It's gonna get confused if you try and do that. So I'm gonna copy this, create a new file. just this. Yeah, paste. I'm gonna call it live history. Wait for about 30 seconds. Pour myself a drink. Oh yeah, I was asked to sort of make a better Ajax call kind of refresh, so I'm gonna see how to do that more efficiently. My first step would have been to force a manual refresh every 5 seconds, but mm, the most efficient manner might be to just pull out the table into another format and then just pull that in. So if I used a JSON, then I would need to do my own formatting in JavaScript. So that's a bit of extra time and extra effort, which is not really required. So maybe I'll just not do that. So I'm gonna remove the user ID and phase ID, and that's pretty much it. That should take care of that. Yeah. Okay. Mind if I refresh the products? Okay. So live history. So view phase history works. So let me just check the data on this one. Live tracking. Do I have anything hide 1, 2, 3, 4 is there? Okay, so it should do work for 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 view live history and boom, boom, boom. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. Okay, 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 okay. Okay. So what I'm gonna just do is call that as index, 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 get latest phases, maybe public function index dollar this get latest phases. And then in the sidebar, because of the way this works, is it wants something there. Sorry, Ramesh, you kind of look like a woman, but I'm running out of time from a POPC perspective, so do 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 do. So theoretically slash should work. It should just take me directly to the home page, so I'm gonna do that. Change this link. Again, I've hard coded it. Nobody's gonna die, so just that didn't work. Pasted. Just call it home. Oh, home. So it's trying to do some tracking and stuff, right? So it will fail. That's right. Okay, so we got a data toggle thing going on over here, which we don't really need for that. So I'm gonna remove this data toggle, and then this whole div can evaporate because we got some examples at the bottom, so we're not gonna lose anything significant by that anyway. So, no, did it save it? It saved it, right? I hope. So tracking. What's the difference between you and you? You are in the UL. Oh, this one as well. Yep. Caret tracking PB. Oh, you don't want the caret. That little guy is that giving this little thingy. So we don't want that. Okay, so it's just trying that. Okay, and almost time. So okay. I'm gonna end the stream now because I've got a work call and I'm gonna hop back in about I don't know an hour or so. And we'll take it from there. All right. Thank you for watching.